Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with a look at Saskatchewan's COVID-19 numbers. A person who tested positive for COVID-19 in Saskatchewan has died. It was someone in the 40 to 49 age group in our northwest zone. There are 43 new cases in the province, none of them are in our zone. 55 people are in hospital, including 6 in the northwest. 356 cases are active province-wide, with 33 here in the northwest. More than 1.38 million vaccine doses have been administered, with close to 86,000 here in the northwest. City Council has sold a piece of land in the Martin Brown area to the Interval Home Society. While some in the area may not want to see a new building in the neighborhood, the city hopes this is the first step towards redevelopment in the area. This could be the new home of the Lloydminster Interval Home Society, as they will purchase 1.03 acres of land northeast of 481256 Ave on the site of the former Martin Brown School. The city has been in communication with the Interval Home for a while, as they've been looking for a new space in the city. Mayor Gerald Albers says the Interval Home wants to integrate into the community.
Interval Home was looking for a larger space than that they currently occupy, and trying to find somewhere where you simply fit into the community versus outstanding being in an industrial area, which you wouldn't put them in, or a commercial area.
The $600,000 deal will see the new Interval Home site take up the same amount of space as the old school did. Mayor Albers understands some residents may feel uneasy about this new development, but says there will be public consultations with those in the community before the project moves into other stages.
You know, we heard very clearly from our discussions about the Martin Brown redevelopment area that people wanted to keep a very big part of the park there, and we see this as being able to do that from the perspective it enhances the community. The Interval Home plays a unique piece of our community, so they're taking up a piece of ground that would have been occupied by the school, if you go back and you could see by the drawings that were presented to council today.
Half of the $600,000 the Interval Home is paying for the land will go straight into the Martin Brown area redevelopment plan and will allow the city to improve and maintain the existing park area without using public dollars.
There's going to be some money available to enhance that park with the sale of the property, if that goes through and completed, which is not going to be taxpayers' dollars, which we heard again from people. Can you enhance the park, but who's going to pay for it? So we found a methodology to find some money that will help us to make some of those continuous improvements. So we're trying to find a balance.
This week's Rotary Club meeting highlighted new gift boxes that look to bring good times and keep people together this summer. The Wayside Summer Vibes gift box set was highlighted to the members of the Rotary Club, which featured various items from local businesses like beef jerky, Caesar mix, local coffee blend, and much more. The idea for these boxes is to help promote shopping local, but also raise money for a local organization.
The amazing thing about these boxes is as soon as we do one, we have other local businesses that say, hey, next time you guys do one, we want to be involved. What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? So it's a great way for us to feature local businesses, local products, and in turn help charity.
All the proceeds will be going to the rescue squad, as they play a big part in the community for the work they continue to do. Supporting a local organization was key for where the funds from these boxes went to.
You know, one thing I heard in the Olympics this year, and it kind of rung a bell, is when local supports local, local stays local, and it's just real fitting with the boxes right now, because as we support one another, we can get stronger and we can thrive together as a community, and it just builds us up.
The boxes can be purchased online at bricksonshoes.com or at Wayside Dental while supplies are limited. It's time now for this week's Retrospect. Here's Blake Nath.
This week in Retrospect. Back in '91, the minimum wage debate picks up steam in Alberta.
Working for minimum wage. The jobs are seldom glamorous, and in Alberta, the pay is the lowest in Canada, allowed by law.
I think we've passed that stage, that $4.50. It's quite low.
The president of the Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce says Alberta is one of the richest provinces. Employers should be able to pay workers more to ensure quality.
You can't even hire good people for $5 an hour right now. I mean, they see it now. You go in a restaurant right now. I mean, they're having trouble hiring good help.
That thought was one of many expressed during a day-long symposium in Edmonton Monday, organized by Labor Minister Elaine McCoy. She believes it's time to change the minimum wage, but wants input on how and to what level. Back in Lloydminster, Corrine Perkins continues her housekeeping rounds. She's summer staff at a hotel and agrees minimum wage isn't much.
No, it's not. Like, especially I'm saving my money to go to college, and when you don't get very much money, you can't save very much, and then you have to take out more loans and that.
And in 96, the Rat Pack locks and loads in the border city.
That's often a familiar sound during a rat cleanup, but that wasn't the scenario during a cleanup south of Bodo on Monday, as 4 Midwest pest control officers waited patiently.
If we dig around the bin a lot, usually the rat will not show. It'll stay in there and take the gas, get sleepy. But lots of times we shoot.
This farm is one pest control officers are already acquainted with, having done cleanups at least once a year for the past 3 years.
Any place you don't try and prevent the establishment, then it makes a lot of work for us and makes a lot of work for the farmer, because then our crew has to pull in as we did today and do a gassing. It costs everybody a lot of money. It's a lot easier to do our job when there is no rats to look for.
Farmers are encouraged to elevate their bins about 8 inches to prevent rat infestations and to make sure they bait regularly.
And that's all for this week in retrospect.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.
And now here's Connor Chan for a first look at your weather.
All right, thanks a lot, Jace. Looking at temperatures right now, starting to get a little bit warmer, and we're going to gradually get a little bit warmer as we get into parts of the week. There's a chance we could see some thunder showers tonight. There's around a 60% chance that we could see that happening, so be aware of that for the evening. Winds definitely died down compared to last week, where we saw on Friday those wind gusts getting up to close to 50 or even 60 kilometers an hour in some areas. Looking at other temperatures around the area, 24 degrees in Vegreville, 24 also in Marwayne and Pierceland, 25 up in the Bonnyville Cold Lake areas. A little bit chance of some thunderstorms also in central parts near the Edmonton area as well. In that part of Alberta, could see some of those thunderstorms starting off there and then making their way eastbound into that Lloyd area. 26 degrees in Macklin with 24 also in the Maidstone, North Battleford area, and then 24 also for St. Walburg and 26 in Meadow Lake and in Green Lake as well. Now take a look to temperatures overnight tonight. 12 degrees expected with some cloud coverage for North Battleford, going up to 30 degrees for tomorrow, as lots of parts of Saskatchewan are expected, in the southern parts, are expected to get close to that 40-degree mark, so the heat is starting to come back in certain areas in Saskatchewan. 14 overnight in Cold Lake, some cloud coverage, and we see another 25-degree day for tomorrow with that sun and cloud mix continuing on. And then, like I said, overnight could see some thunder showers as well, with that 60% chance overnight at 14, and then 27 degrees will be our daytime high for tomorrow with that same sun and cloud mix. Things will start to clear up as we get throughout the week, though. So looking ahead to Wednesday, 27 degrees. We'll get a little bit more sun in that on that day, and then a little bit of chance of some rain also for Thursday as we get into the 30-degree mark for the first time. It feels like in a long time, as we've been seeing temperatures just above average or even just a little bit below average in some parts of the week there. But we will start to see things clear up a little bit more, and we'll show in the 7-day forecast how warm it will get. That is a look at your weather for now. We'll have more primetime local news after the break.
Today I am joined by Jeff Brown. He is the Dean of Agricultural Sciences at Lakeland College. Jeff, thank you for joining me today.
I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, thanks, Jillian.
So Lakeland College renewed their partnership with New Holland all the way up until 2031. What can you tell me about this partnership?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something we're really excited about. So our first agreement with New Holland started in 2011, and it was a really groundbreaking agreement where New Holland would supply most modern new equipment for both our student-managed farm, and then there's also some equipment that would come to Lakeland College for maintenance of the grounds and that sort of thing as well. But really instrumental partnership, particularly for the School of Agriculture, because it allowed us to really be able to teach, particularly our crops program, but also our livestock programming with the most modern equipment and really teach the latest technologies in our ag training. So.
And what does having this technology mean for students throughout their studies?
Well, I think that's one of the biggest struggles in ag training is trying to keep up with some of the technology that is out there. And it's not to say that's the only way to farm. Certainly, you can be doing that. We did it for years, but it is really difficult to keep up with machinery budgets when you're not at economies of scale as you would be on a commercial farming operation. Having this arrangement works really well for us because we're able to kind of cycle equipment in and out of the program. The students can learn, as we say, with the most modern equipment. I mean, if you look at the advancements in technology that have happened, particularly over the last few years, and what's coming down the pipe as well, it's going to be just instrumental to have these partnerships with industry where they can be kind of showcasing their latest advancements, and we can be really staying relevant and up to date with industry.
And do you feel that this partnership helps prepare students for a post-grad world?
Oh, absolutely. So as part of this partnership, and this the name of the student managed farm was coined, we call it the student managed farm powered by New Holland. And I really do think it's an important thing. Obviously they're not always going to be going out in the real world and using maybe that brand of equipment. But I think that it does give them a really good idea of the technologies that are available out there. It also really underscores the importance of industry partnerships, not only with the college, but also when you get out into industry, trying to build those relationships that can help your business is really instrumental to success on that side. So, I think it's been great for New Holland as well. They get some exposure to a large number of ag students. Our enrollment has just exploded, since our first agreement. We're well over 500 ag students now in the School of Agriculture. So we think that's a large part of that is due to our partnership with New Holland and other industry partners that we would work with.
That's awesome that you're able to see something tangible from that. Not necessarily like just because of the partnership, but it definitely plays a role, I would say. As dean, how does it feel to be able to provide this for your students?
Well, I think it's essential to today's industry, and like I say, it's I started at the college in 2010, and we certainly were able to teach the main competencies that you need to do. But I think that it really creates a lot of pride in the agriculture industry. I think that we can be kind of using this modern technology, the new stuff that's out there. I think it creates some relevance with our students when they head back to their home farms, and they can kind of talk about what they've seen at Lakeland College. So but I think it's great for the students, it's really good for the school, and it's good for the industry so that we can kind of showcase kind of what's on the horizon for agriculture production.
And with like this partnership and the student-led farm, it really seems like it's a community learning experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another big part of this partnership is the support we've had from Webb's Machinery, who's our local dealer. And our student managed farm has worked. They know Daniel has been out to the farm quite often. He helps out with some of our events. So just really appreciate the local support we also get at that level. It really makes the partnership kind of tangible for the students when they can put a face to the name. They've been great in terms of bringing New Holland out and working on some demos. If there's new equipment that's coming out that we can be kind of trialing out in our fields and that sort of thing. And we try to incorporate student involvement as much as we can. So I think it's been a really great partnership. It's worked really well, I think, from both sides. So we're just ecstatic that we can keep doing this for another 10 years.
Yeah, it sounds like a really beneficial partnership for everyone involved. Well, thank you so much for being able to join me today.
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Well, joining us to recap all the events from the NHL draft is Evan Kenny. Evan, it was a pretty exciting draft to say the least. Lots of picks in the first round, as well as lots of big trades, which we'll get to touch on in a little bit there. But Evan, what are some key points that stood out to you as the draft went on through that Friday and Saturday?
Yeah, Connor, definitely a little bit of a crazy draft. Really not like a draft that we've seen before when it comes to the NHL. Obviously, a number of different leagues across the world this year weren't even playing hockey. So for these scouts, they really had to do their due diligence and, get some research, find out a little more about these guys and go back couple of years and really find out who they're taking, just because a lot of these players weren't on the ice the past year. Now, Connor, for the first time ever, 3 players from one NCAA school were all picked in the first round, and not only that, they were all picked in the first 5 spots there with Matt Beniers, Owen Power, and as well then Luke Hughes was taken as well there. So, great showing from University of Michigan there as well. Canada, 40% of the players taken in this draft were from Canada. 3 of those being from the AJHL. Corson Kuhlman's going in the first round, 25th overall to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Tage Harding from the Fort McMurray Oil Barons went 91st to the Chicago Blackhawks. And then finally, Taylor McCarr will be joining his brother Cale McCarr with the Colorado Avalanche. He was taken 220th overall. So a little bit of family connections there, but all in all, Connor, it'll be interesting to see, how this draft really plays out in the coming years.
And of course, don't forget Kent Johnson is that other Michigan Wolverine who went in the first round as well as Colton Dock. Kirby Dock's brother was also drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks in the second round. So great family ties, like you said. And draft day wouldn't be draft day, Evan, without trades. And boy, we got a lot of trades leading up to the draft. We'll start with Rasmus Ristolainen to the Philadelphia Flyers for Robert Hagg, their first round pick this year, as well as a second round pick next year. I was very surprised with the return on Ristolainen. He hasn't played well the last little bit here, and he is a UFA at the end of the year. So I guess the question is, Evan, did the Flyers overpay for Ristolainen?
See, I've heard different things from different people. Like you said, Connor, you were surprised there. I'm not actually that surprised. I mean, Rasmus Ristolainen, he's had a couple down years. He's played on a down team, though, in the Buffalo Sabres. You got to think he's still only 26 years old. He's 6'4", 220 pounds, and can skate, Connor, as well. He has that offensive upside. In 4 out of his 7 full-time NHL seasons, he's put up a minimum of 40 points. So this is still a player who can contribute, especially now you look at the Philadelphia Flyers' top 4 defensemen. I think he'll fit in well there, maybe put him with a defensive guy, like a guy like Justin Braun, who the Philadelphia Flyers have already. Now, I don't know if the return was too much per se, obviously a first round pick this season, a 2023 second round pick, as well as defenseman Robert Hagg, maybe a little pricey, but when you're getting, arguably a top pairing defenseman, you got to pay a little extra.
And then, of course, when you mean by pay extra, I guess that's an understatement or an over-exaggeration, rather, with Seth Jones, as that trade finally happened to the Chicago Blackhawks from the Blue Jackets, and Blue Jackets got Adam Boqvist, a first-round pick this year, or the past draft, and then heading into 2022, as well as a second-round pick. And then, of course, Seth Jones signs that massive 8-year, $9.5 million per year extension. Then Ekman Larson goes to Vancouver at least now $7.26 million, as Arizona does retain some salary. What do you make of those big trades, especially with that price tag that comes from both those defensemen?
Yeah, just starting things off, Connor, with Chicago and Seth Jones there. I think Seth Jones is one of the most elite defensemen in the NHL right now. I would probably put him in my top 5 personally. So this is a fantastic player. Now, I'm not quite sure if this is the right move for Chicago. Just looking at Chicago, they're in that little bit of a rebuild right now, right? Some of their top players, Alex DeBrincat, Kirby Dock, these are some young guys as well. Looking at their D-core, they have a very young D-core. One of those guys was Adam Boqvist, who is going the other way. So I do like that return for Columbus. I'm just not sure if this is the right time for Chicago to be making this big deal. But at the same time, they have him for 9 years now, and Seth Jones is a fantastic defenseman, so he's a good piece that the Blackhawks should be building around. Now, if we take a look at the Vancouver-Arizona deal here, Connor, I don't like this one nearly as much. Obviously, Vancouver gave up a little bit of cap to get those 2 players in Connor Darling and Oliver Ekman Larson. I think they might have overpaid here a little bit.
Yeah, and it'll be a couple years that until we see this maybe hurting the Canucks long term. Of course, they dumped some bad contracts like Louis Eriksson and Jay Beagle and Antoine Roussel, who all have 1 year left on their deal. So lots of cap space will free up for Arizona. So one of the last things, Evan, just as we recap the draft as a whole, what team in your mind stood out as a winner for you?
Well, actually, Connor, I think there was a number of different teams. Different teams had different agendas coming into this draft. But for me, anytime a team has 3 first-round picks, and as well, not just 3 first-round picks, but executes well on those picks, I think they got to be a winner. So for me, the Columbus Blue Jackets, they went in with the idea, they're in a full rebuild. They got young pieces there. Let's keep going with this. So they meant a couple guys that we already mentioned, Kent Johnson going with their first one. Cole Sillinger was taken with that pick that they got from Chicago at number 12, who I think maybe could be their best first-round pick there. He's got a real NHL-style game. And then finally, Corson Kuhlman's from the Brooks Bandits. I just think they did a good job of diversifying within that first round, but as well executing and picking some fantastic players.
And for me, if I had to pick somebody, Evan, I'd say the Detroit Red Wings. Of course, they did get Alex Nedeljkovic earlier in that before the draft. Basically, they stole him from Carolina, getting him at 2 years and $3 million per year. And then you look at the pick, Simon Edvinsson, a really good mobile defenseman who will probably grow into that body and play good with Moritz Seider down the road, another top Red Wings prospect. And then, of course, the goalie, Sebastian Cossa, who was 6'6", played for the Edmonton Oil Kings, was one of the best goalies in the WHL with that shortened season. He's got lots of potential. And fun thing, of course, with Steve Yzerman, last time he took a goalie with the first pick in the first round that was 6'6", was Andrei Vasilevsky, and we all know how he turned out being a Stanley Cup champion. Evan, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Connor. Should be exciting, watching these players develop in the future.
All right, taking one last look here at your weather forecast. 27 degrees for tomorrow and Wednesday. Still a chance we could see some thunder showers overnight tonight, and also possibly Thursday with that high of 30 degrees as we get a little bit warmer heading into the long weekend. 28 on Friday and Saturday with some clear skies. 29 on Sunday, and then 24 degrees on Monday.
And thank you for joining us for Primetime Local News. The second hour continues now on CITL.